After my first video on Team USA, I expressed some concern that they'd struggle against the better teams in the World Cup. And yesterday, they got blown out in the first half and couldn't get enough stops in the second to allow a physically tough Lithuania team to outshoot them to the victory. Lithuanians had a great game plan put together against USA, focusing on the three-point shot and crashing the boards against the smaller Americans. So let's look at how they shot a sizzling 56% from behind the arc while making the first 9 they took. Early on, they caught the USA in an intentional position with Josh Hart at the nail to offer support on the inside ball screen. The problem with nexting here is that it's essentially full help from one pass away, and there is no hope to defend the easiest pass you can make. The Lithuanians wanted to negate their talent deficit by using their strength advantage and cleverly drawing fouls, which meant Jaren Jackson Jr. got into very early foul trouble and forced Coach Kerr to go with Paolo Banchero at center. They try and post up on Bridges, who's able to handle the physicality with some of his own to get Sotokirsis out of there. And as the shot clock winds down, they decide to get into a pick and roll with Jonas Valanciunas on the right wing. With little time on the clock, Banchero drops to contain the ball handler, but leaves Valanciunas wide open on a favorite shot of his, where Josh Hart should have rotated to get a hand up. They then want to take advantage of Banchero in the post, and I like how Anthony Edwards doubles from the lowest position along the baseline. But Lithuania is well prepared. They dive Brazdeikis to the rim, and that forces Hart to pick him up. Ideally, Hart would then turn around and close out on an angle from the basket to the corner. I don't mind Jalen Brunson hustling to take away the three-point shot, but Hart is a step slow, realizing he needs to get to the wing, and that's all the room Jokubaitis needs. The Lithuanians run some of the best offense of anyone in this tournament. It's a big reason why they haven't lost yet, and they catch Team USA completely unprepared for Spain pick and roll, which is a ball screen on the right wing and a back screen to the ball screener's man. The wrinkle is that they make this a cross screen. Walker Kessler had no idea it was coming because Edwards didn't call it out. And Banchero was supposed to stop and switch on to Benzias here. He foolishly runs to the ball as if it's drop coverage, leaving the backside exposed to a 2-on-1, and the nice one more pass gets the most desirable perimeter shot in the game of basketball, wide open. The lead is growing, and on this fast break, it almost looks like the Lithuanians have more players on the court than the Americans. The shot fake penetration occupies 2 defenders. Banchero has no idea there's a guy spotting up behind him. Credit to the no-look pass that fools him completely, and I don't like this effort by Haliburton as they give up another wide-open corner 3. Here's another clever set they run to get his shooter open. The back screen for Karanauskas forces a switch, and then they run flex action with the ghost screen on the block, and then screening the screener in a loop across the court. Banchero neither calls out the screen nor steps up to either switch or offer some support, so Karanauskas takes 3 illegal steps the referees completely miss into this wide open top of the key shot. They then disguise Spain pick and roll with an initial 1-4 alignment, and this is distinctly European action. The guy in the left block crosses the court to set a pin down for the guy in the corner. They cut the passer across the court right as the ball screener is sprinting up to make contact on Haliburton. And here is the back screen on Jaren Jackson Jr. It doesn't even matter as Dimsa gets a sliver of daylight to splash off the dribble. They still haven't missed a three-pointer yet as that lead gets to 20 on this play. Another Spain pick and roll. This time watch the handoff guy roll, then loop back around to back screen Jaren Jackson. The defense screws this up once again when Haliburton refuses to switch, instead chasing the ball into an effective double team that leaves Motiejunas so open he can lick his thumb and check the wind before shooting it. If you look at some of the facial hair on the Lithuanian team, it should be clear why they hit so many threes, since they kept their beards so well groomed. And you could get that same precision with Manscaped's Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Just look how inspiring Jonas Valanciunas' beard was as it propelled his team to victory. The Beard Hedger trimmer has a powerful 7,200 RPM motor and titanium-coated T-blade, which can cut through the thickest of hair in a single stroke. Whether you prefer a 5 o'clock shadow or a lion's mane, you can choose from 20 different hair cutting lengths with a zoom wheel that uses only one guard. Now you can have a dedicated trimmer for your face and one for your nether region. So head over to manscaped.com today to get 20% off plus free shipping when you use my code BBALL. I mean, BBALL is really easy to remember when we're talking about Manscaped products, right? The Americans play with fire again on drop coverage against a ball screener who is a shooter, and this time Ingram fully rotates to the pop, but the fumble actually helps the offense as Ingram looks like he's on skates, and despite two players in the vicinity, Kuzminskas calmly drops the shot in. We'll talk a little bit about the 18 offensive rebounds USA gave up in a minute, but they catch Halliburton helping one pass away and losing his man for 2 steps. And I like how Austin Reaves goes to the glass for the rebound. Sometimes those shots miss into long rebounds and there's nothing you can do. But the key is, how quickly can you match up again? Ingram needs a touch more effort if he wants to stop this open shot from going in. Here's that same handoff into Spain pick and roll, and Portis seems to understand what's happening and gets lower than the screen so he can maintain his position and drop coverage of Valanciunas. But that means Ingram is supposed to switch to the ball. Frankly, it was a little embarrassing they kept giving up target practice like this. They run Spain pick and roll again, this time on a handoff to the right wing. There's Normantas coming up to backscreen Portis. This time, they switch all 3 players and it worked. Up until Anthony Edwards loses his man ball watching and they give up another catch and shoot corner 3 without a hand up. By generating so many easy shots against a troubled defense, the basketball gods might have decided to look down upon Lithuania favorably. As the shot clock was about to wind down, Edwards plays tremendous defense to deflect the ball, and it just doesn't seem possible, but Kuzminskas doesn't even look at the basket as a shot connects and basically rips the heart out of the Americans. Interestingly, while the Lithuanians grabbed 14 offensive rebounds, doubling up USA, hardly any one of them resulted in a putback or a score on the reset, so you can't say this was a huge factor. However, there were a couple in the second half that allowed Lithuania to maintain their slim lead and tread water in the face of a determined USA team that had a lot of momentum on their side. If you look at some of the missed threes, you can see that Team USA got lucky that Lithuania didn't even hit more of them, as the defensive breakdowns were problematic. Watch how ghosting this ball screen lures Bobby Portis to the ball for a step, but his recovery was good to contest into a miss. However, Ingram needs to be able to grab this board. With a precarious 4-point lead, every extra possession was crucial, and you can see how determined the offense is to get the ball down low against the perceived mismatch. Banchero can't come up with this steal of the skip pass, and Portis needs to be rotating to help since the shot clock is about to expire. Instead, Kuzminskas gets an easy and open floater. And Kuz was at it again at the end of the quarter, as the defense did a great job to harass the shooter into a wild shot out of the corner, but no one puts a body on the cutter, who knocks the ball back to himself and back in the basket before the defense can even react. Wow. This was their last offensive rebound, so down the stretch, these things didn't kill the Americans, but you guessed it, Spain pick and roll comes through as they once again failed to switch off of the ball, leaving the back screener wide open. But Ingram doesn't go to the boards hard, his man does, and this 8-point cushion was crucial. Another point of emphasis from the Lithuanians was to use their size down low, and they targeted Austin Reaves, who ended up fouling out and only playing 13 minutes. For a guy who was playing so well for them, the Lithuanians understood where they had an advantage, and I can't quite figure out why the Americans wouldn't have doubled the post in support of Reaves. Considering how much speed and athletic ability is out there, it seems like Team USA would be able to recover well enough, and it would certainly be worth trying, since I guarantee other teams will try and exploit their bigger bodies in the post against more than just Reaves going forward. Yes, I'm looking at you, Jalen Brunson. Looking at the bracket, the US might face a tough Germany team that hasn't lost, and despite sideline troubles, Schroeder has been amazing, and they've all been scorching from behind that 3-point line. Beyond that, we'll either get a matchup of 8 NBA players from Canada or Luka and his teammates from Slovenia, which means nothing will be easy for the Americans, and if they can't shore up their defensive rotations, these teams will certainly punish them from behind the arc, putting a World Cup title in serious jeopardy.